Wow, it's a pretty good crowd in here. How's everybody going? So my name is Joshua Don, and I'm the program director here at Full Sail University for our technology programs, which includes like web and mobile and those kinds of things. And usually we do a graduate showcase at these kinds of events, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're actually going to do an alumni showcase in a way. So I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming to this stage an alumni and her business partner, Brandy and Dania from Creators Code, the founders. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
So today we're going to be talking a little bit about what they do, who they are, and what they're doing in the industry, as well as how to connect with your industry using social media, which is a little bit broader than just our technology programs. So with that, ladies.
Yeah, so welcome. We are super excited to be here. And like Josh said, we're going to talk to you guys about how to really use social and optimize your profiles to make sure you guys are connecting with the right people in the right industries to hopefully land jobs before you graduate, if not before, then after.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dania McCullough, and I am the founder and CEO of a digital marketing firm in Los Angeles, California. I am also the co-founder of Creators Code, an online learning platform for all things social media and digital marketing. Although social media and digital marketing have always been my passion, it wasn't always my career. From a dance major to a headhunter for technical and creative professionals, I still to this day use social media to build my business and find my clients. I worked in headhunting for about 5 years, and it was my job to work for companies like Robert Half and Michael Page to recruit individuals such as yourselves to place you with your best match or best company for you. Believe it or not, most of the time, I found you on LinkedIn or some sort of social media. And eventually, I found myself living vicariously through placing all of you in your dream jobs, and one day it clicked that I could create my dream job, and so I did. And I started showcasing my journey as an entrepreneur and an influencer in tech on social media.
And my name is Brandy Morgan, and you can find me on all social under Miss Brandy Morgan. And I am actually a software developer, and I've done everything from custom WordPress themes to robust web applications to mobile apps. And it was through the use of social media and personal branding that allowed me to work with really awesome companies like the Powerpuff Girls, Microsoft, Showflow. They're actually a local company that does live event production software. And so we're here today to really show you guys how to do that and how to really optimize your profiles. And by telling our journeys online, believe it or not, Donnie and I met on Instagram. And we connected because I was sharing my journey as a developer. I started out sharing as a student like you guys about going to Full Sail, programming every day. And that carried into getting jobs and tutorials and tips and tricks. And Dania was doing not the same thing, but she was sharing her journey as a female entrepreneur in the tech space, but more around social media and marketing. And so we met on Instagram and started doing collaborations called Tech Tuesday, where we would get together and do lives and talk about all things tech. And from there, we founded a company called Creators Code.
Creators Code is an online learning platform that teaches authentic social media marketing. So we believe in combining technical and creative skill sets to grow your brand or business. Keep in mind that brand also means your personal brand, and we're going to talk a little bit about why it's so important to have one. And if you want any further information, you can always go to creatorscode.co.
So just like you guys, I was too a student at Full Sail. I sat right where you guys were sitting at one point or another, listening to, quite a few speakers and industry experts come in and talk about different things. So I just want to say I'm super pleased to be back, and thank you to Josh for having us here to talk with you.
So first things first, it's really important to define your niche. pick an industry that resonates with you when you're seeking a job. Define this industry. Who do you want to work for? Where do you want to work? The more specific you are, the more you will find yourself in alignment with the better people, networks, or companies for you and building your career.
So all of us in this room can probably say that we are in tech. So that doesn't really work to just say, oh, I want to be in tech. You need to be more specific. So if you're a software engineer, well, what type of software engineer do you want to be? Now you have front end, you have back end, you have databases, game dev, you have mobile dev. You can even specialize in particular frameworks. Are you in video production? I know that's a big thing here. So do you actually want to be the producer? Do you want to be a next YouTube celebrity? Like whatever it is, make sure you know what it is and be specific about it. Same goes for design. You have graphic design, you have UX, you have UI, you have web design, mobile design, you have animation. Like the more specific you are, as you can see, the common theme is going to help you brand yourself better.
Absolutely. And as you determine this niche, it's really important to find the platform where your future employers or possibly even clients sit. Social media is one of those places where anyone can be a part of it, which is why showing up, exactly where your future employers would be is very important to do. But this part is going to require a little bit of research on your end. Mm-hmm. We always suggest making a list of companies or employees of those companies that you'd want to work with. And here's a really great way to do this.
So let's say you want to work at Pinterest. Well, what you're going to have to do is you are going to need to Google and somehow find their team page, which you're not going to be able to do if you just go to Pinterest.com. So you need to do a little bit of research to figure out how you get to the company page. And from the company page, you can see a list of different people that work there. This happens to be their leadership team. And what we suggest that you do is make a list, use some sort of note app, and make a target of the different companies, and then write down the different people that work at those companies that are inside the specific field that you are trying to get into. And remember this, because we will be referencing this later.
There will be a quiz.
Right. So now that you've found your niche and you've found the platform, it's really important to start building your personal brand. And this is really important, especially for those of you who are just starting out. Many of you out there right after graduation are not really going to have the experience that might land you the high-paying dream job. But from personal experience, if you begin branding yourself, taking notes on your community, and finding a way to stand out and make a difference, you will have a greater chance of getting in the door for that dream interview. So we have a few things that we'd like to go over with you guys for creating consistency across all of your platforms. And first and foremost is your profile picture. If you guys are like me and you change your profile picture every day, we recommend that you change this across all of your social media platforms. This makes it much, much easier for your potential employers or recruiters to find you based on the same profile. And as you'll learn through this talk today, consistency really is key. So here is my Instagram bio. And when I'm looking at someone's bio, you can see immediately what I do, the expertise of my field, more importantly, how I help people, and then a further link to provide further resources. When I see someone's bio, I need to see quickly and concisely who you are, what you do, how you help people, and what makes you unique. It's important to remember that you can always help people on social media. Even if you're a student sharing your journey to inspire other people to get into tech, or maybe you're talking about or sharing the process of building a super cool new app with your friends, there's always a way to give something back to your social media community, no matter how big or how small.
And like Dania said, if somebody's able to find you on one platform, more than likely they're going to find you on another one. So keep it professional. This means no party photos. Keep anything that is offensive or considered high-risk behavior off of social media. that is also overly opinionated comments or photos or rants, because not just your photos and your posts, but people actually can see the comments that you're leaving on other people's messages. And like us and like you, companies use Google and social media because they want to know what type of person you are and how you interact with others in the online community. If this is something that is too hard for you to do, that you just can't quit posting party photos, we highly recommend that you look into the privacy settings on each specific platform that you're on.
So how can you, as a college student or college graduate, find recruiters? As a former recruiter, I can tell you that we live on social media. Recruiters want to know everything about you, and they want to know it fast. They, even more so, skill sets are not the only thing that matters anymore. Recruiters use social media to see your hobbies, your interests, and make sure that you're the right cultural fit for their company or their client. LinkedIn is by far the best platform for professional networking. With over 500 million active users, this is a platform that's been created specifically to connect with people you know and trust in your professional network. LinkedIn is also a great place to have testimonials and references when recruiters are looking for you. I can tell you personally that every job I have ever had came from a recruiter finding me on LinkedIn. Just like any social media platform, you want to make sure that you're optimizing LinkedIn to the best of your ability. So there are 6 points about your profile that you really do want to focus on. One, of course, being your profile picture. Make sure you do have a professional photo or something that aligns with your industry. Also include a short summary. Again, the summary should be similar to the bio. I want to know who you are, what you do, how you help people. And if you're a recent college grad who's looking for someone to give you that chance or opportunity, what makes you unique and why should I hire you? Of course, you want to add any experience you have. You can add your projects, as well as your education, skills, so that other users can endorse you. And of course, again, a great place to ask people for recommendations and testimonials to do the word of mouth referral for you. So, being an influencer on LinkedIn is not the stereotype of an influencer posting with their favorite skincare products. In fact, that's kind of a stereotype that goes across all platforms and not what we consider to be true influence. LinkedIn is a platform that's going to give you an opportunity to be a thought leader. It gives you a chance to showcase your expertise within your professional network. Increasing your influence increases your visibility, which leads to more opportunity. So these are 3 simple ways that you can act as an influencer on LinkedIn. One is actually being a follower. Actually connecting and supporting with your community, following people that you like, following other influencers you admire, liking, commenting, sharing, being a community member. 2 is being a leader on LinkedIn. And this could be writing your own articles. Maybe you have something to say about your journey, maybe your own blog posts that you're sharing within the community. If you don't have anything to write, maybe it's posting someone else's article, but being the driver of the conversation. Having your opinions, commenting, and then of course building your community. Don't be afraid to connect and meet other people, join groups. We always say the same phrase, collaborate versus compete. We also want you to remember that the number of connections that you have on LinkedIn does not equate influence. That's vanity, it's a vanity number. What matters is the influence and the impact that you provide on the network around you. And of course, there are perks. There are perks to being an influencer, especially when you're being looked at by recruiters and your future employer. This showcases leadership and individual thought. It shows a deeper connection to your content. People feel like they know you, but it also establishes trust and credibility. And you may be someone that a company says, hey, they could really positively promote me. Social media is a skill set of its own, so of course, it also shows that you have networking and growth hacking skills.
And just like Dania said, take every single opportunity that you guys have to network with people in your industry, whether that's in person, like events like this, or online. Especially online, because you have the ability to meet multiple people from all over the world and so many other opportunities and companies that are out there. And so in-person networking, go to meetups. I'm sure your teachers have told you this 100 times, but meetup.com is an amazing place. When I was a student, that's what I always did when we had spare time. Would even talk teachers out of class so we could go to meetups and meet people. You can also go to conferences. They usually offer student discounts. You can look into that. You can network with people at coffee shops and also in your classroom with your teachers and also your lab assistants. And one of the best ways to stay connected with these people when you are networking is to link in with them right there in the moment. Because what that's going to do is that's going to continue the conversation further than that initial encounter that you have. And now we have online networking. And so that would be on any sort of social platform that you guys are on. So the first thing you want to do is find the right person that you're trying to connect with, and then get to know them. And this is not to be creepy, but if this person is online, maybe see if they're posting on a blog or they've done videos, and go ahead and read them and watch them and kind of get to know them through the content that they're producing. And then add value. If you're a student and you are seeking a job or an internship or some sort of opportunity, you need to add value before you go in for the ask. How you provide value online, especially on social, is through liking, commenting, and sharing that person's content. And make it personal. Go back to the blogs and the videos that you were watching about that person and reference them and say they did an amazing job or something that you liked about it. And then the last two kind of go together. Keep it short. Don't ramble on and on and on about your hopes and dreams, about all your experience, about all the stuff you want to do. Keep it nice and short, and also be very clear. The shorter and the more clear you are, the easier it is for them to say yes. So going back to the Pinterest example and to online networking, we were able to find Francis, is that his name? Oh, Lawrence. Lawrence, who is the head of product at Pinterest. And how easy is it to like, comment, and share any of his content? Because he doesn't have a lot of followers and he's not following that many people, so chances are he's going to notice if you are meaningfully engaging with him.
So one of the best ways that you can stand out on social media is establishing yourself as an expert. And that could also mean the expert in whatever it is that you're learning. So you can actually start blogging through platforms such as Medium, WordPress, or Instagram, or even creating video content on YouTube, IGTV, or Twitch. Writing blogs about what you're learning in school is actually relatable content for a lot of people. Don't discredit yourself. Through blogging and showing the potential to employers that you understand this material, and then you're able to reteach it, shows that you have leadership skills.
And then video content. And this was something that I really utilized as a student here. And you can do this through vlogging your daily life of a Full Sail student or whatever degree it is that you guys are going for. You can do webinars, events or presentations like this, or if you're presenting in class, throw up a tripod with a camera or your phone and film it, and then post that online. It's a great way to engage and to also establish yourselves as an expert or an industry leader. You can also do tutorials, product reviews, or behind the scenes with Snapchat or IGTV, bringing in potential employers on what it's like to be a student and how hard you guys are working. All right, so take a breath. We just went over kind of a lot of stuff for you guys, all the way from creating social content, all the different mediums you guys can post on. We talked about social etiquette. We went over LinkedIn. So just take a breath. I know it's a lot to cover.
So here is a list for you of everything that we've covered so far. This is the time where you're allowed to use your phones if you'd like to take a quick picture. Of course, we covered finding your niche, picking a platform, being the brand, keeping it professional, how to work with recruiters, social networking, and building authority.
So I kind of wanted to reference my own story since I too was a student a few years ago. I branded myself as a React Native developer. I went super specific into a framework that luckily didn't fail. And I used YouTube and Instagram specifically. Like I said, I did a lot of video content. And the reason why is our teachers here, if you couldn't make a final, you would have to record it and talk about what it was that you were learning. So I would repurpose that content and post on different social platforms. And my brand became Miss Brandy Morgan. And I just became this React Native developer, and I started networking with industry leaders, which led to a lot of opportunities with Team Treehouse, creating tutorials and things like that. Working with Microsoft and other different opportunities came from building that brand. And that came through building that brand authority, which was through the blog posts, the different vlogs, and also the daily content that I was creating. And the other thing that you guys can do as a student is speak at local meetups. I can trust me, I was not an expert at development. I actually failed my first CSS and HTML class. So I wasn't an expert by any means, but if you are willing to work hard and put yourself out there and really learn the material and share what it is that you are learning, people will listen. And so this is how we want you guys to stand out. If you don't do anything to differentiate yourself, then you're going to be the same as everybody else, and the job market is huge. And there's so many people coming, for these different tech jobs, and we want to help you guys stand out by using social media to really optimize the opportunities that are out there.
So please feel free to network with us. You can see our handles here, and you can also go to @creatorscode.co on Instagram. And we'd like to thank you all today for being here with us. And it's really our hope that you'll use social media to find your dream job or create your own.
Mm-hmm. And like she said, we are here. Take down our handles. Feel free to DM us, ask us any questions, or have us review something, or if you just want to talk, we're here. So we're going to open it now up to Q&A.
So first of all, thank you for that presentation. I think that was great. Can we give them a hand for him to start with that? From the very beginning, there's a lot of kind of the staple comments that I'm sure students hear all the time with, LinkedIn, and don't do stupid stuff, and post it online and everything like that. And then also the uniqueness. We talked a lot about LinkedIn. I kind of wanted to go back, though. You said that you guys actually met on Instagram. In your experience, what is maybe some of the hidden value in some of these other social platforms that outside of LinkedIn that they need to be aware of? Because I think a lot of people think, my LinkedIn is locked up, and my LinkedIn is me as a professional, and then they go to Instagram and it's a picture of something that maybe shouldn't be there, or they have a public profile on Facebook and they're just blasting everything out to the world. How do recruiters and industry as a whole look at those kinds of things, and how can you leverage those other platforms along with LinkedIn?
Yeah, in regards to recruiters viewing your social, as Brandy kind of lightly touched on, when we found Lawrence on his social, you want to keep your social media professional, because you have the opportunity to connect sometimes with C-level individuals who don't have a massive following, but they work for a massive company. And if your Twitter is professional or your Instagram is professional, some of the value you could get from that is being able to outreach, being able to share and comment, and know if this person looks at your account that they're going to say, this could be a great employee for us, versus, not so sure about this photo with the keg, So that's something that we're constantly looking at, but it's also doing yourself a favor to be able to outreach, because not everyone is going to come to you. It's
Nobody
also
is.
part of your job to reach out. If you get hit up by a recruiter, you're lucky, right? But for most of us, we need to find a way to stand out and make sure that our platforms are professional and aligned so that we can reach out and differentiate ourselves.
And I think one of the biggest things about these different platforms that's not LinkedIn, especially Instagram, because that's the one that we use a lot of, is the community that's on there. You build these close relationships with people that are on Instagram that are also, for me, it was developers. There's all these programmers all over the world on there posting photos of their code and different things that they were learning, different frameworks, different tools, and it just built this sort of trust and respect for one another. And so when there are job opportunities, your name will come up because you're a community member and you're giving back.
And one other question that I had before we start sending the mic around. As women in the industry and in tech, I get asked a lot, not as a woman obviously, but as a guy, on your behalf, how Brandy's social media, like you have found this interesting mix of embracing, your personality, your feminine side, but also the fact that you are a software engineer. Do you guys have any advice to women specifically that are out there that are trying to get into this and trying to find that balance and establishing who they are while maintaining credibility and establishing themselves as a professional, but also a person? And I think that's a weird kind of balance.
It is kind of a weird balance. For myself, I do try to keep it always professional. My account is my account and I use it for networking purposes. But you also need to be authentic to who you are. There's a lot of personality, like you said, that you're able to show and you're still able to keep it professional at the same time. And as far as being like a female in tech, I mean, you're gonna get a slew of interesting messages from people. That's inevitable.
It's awful.
But at the same time, you can use it to your advantage. A lot of times, you'll get asked to go to different events because you're a female in tech, and instead of looking at that as a negative, embrace it and go to the events and meet more people. So that's kind of how I look at it, and just be authentic.
Yeah, I think if I can leave you with anything of the way that I kind of look at it, there is a need to close the gap of the ratio, right? There is a need to have more women, more minorities, more people in technology. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the motive enough. It doesn't matter the reason why you were invited, it just matters that you show up and that you show other people like you that they can be like you and do what you're doing.
I think that's the biggest thing, is when you do it yourself, you are showing other people that they too can do it. And that's one of our biggest motivations, is to show other, not just females, but other people that, hey, if they're doing it, I can do it too.
And I think that's my favorite part about what I've seen from both of you, is that what you showcase out there is obviously professional and is obviously on point and giving valuable information, but you don't lose yourself in the process. And I think sometimes people just need to be better at that balance and being authentic. I think that's the right word. I'm glad they use that. So questions from the audience. I know we also have people online, so if you have questions, please type them into the YouTubes and we'll have it. And if you have a question in here, just shoot your hand up and we'll run a mic over, but wait for the mic because we are streaming, so people need to be able to hear what your question is.
Hello, I'm Christian with Entertainment Business, and my question, first of all, this is the most meat I've seen in one of these presentations. Thank you so much. I wish I had recorded this so I could digest it all.
We recorded it, so you're good. Yeah.
Okay, time management, because my job isn't social life, and I always thought I don't want to do a blog because unless you are a blogger, you don't get a following, and then I'm wasting hours on the computer to get 10 people to read an article. So how do you manage, for a normal person who's not focused on online presence, when is the line where he's like, okay, I've done enough, I shouldn't keep wasting my time? Not that before it wasn't, but now it's getting to be a waste of time.
I think that's a great question. Coming from a social media and digital marketing standpoint, if I was giving the advice to a client or even you specifically, I would say that you have to remember that consistency is key. And it's okay if you only have an hour a week to designate, but you make sure that you do that hour. And social media doesn't always blow up overnight. For most of us, you will never be an overnight success. It takes years. It takes thousands of posts. It takes trying different platforms. Where can you reach? Who can you reach? So to tell you that there's a specific amount of time before you feel like you've wasted time, there's no such thing. You can either go viral and blow up overnight, or you do the work and you put in the hours, but either way you kind of have to mentally prep yourself for that, right? That this is something I want and here are all the benefits. So this is why I'm going to do it, and make sure that even if I'm doing it 20 minutes a day, I'm showing up 20 minutes a day. If I can do 2 posts a week, I'm doing 2 posts a week, as long as it takes to get there. And eventually you will get there with consistency and with guidance. And as Brandy mentioned, the best thing about social media is the community to help you. And as you're consistent within the community, you meet more people, and more people help you meet more people. And before you know it, your network is growing and expanding.
And
Go ahead.
because you're a student, and I used to do this when I was a student here, and we've touched on this before, but it's called time blocking. So I don't know, I feel like the school has changed a little bit from 2 years ago, but we were in class for 4 hours of lecture, and then we had 4 hours of lab. That's 8 hours a day, give or take. And so I would time chunk like an hour. It was almost an hour every single day to do something on social. And a lot of times I would plan it out ahead. There's a thing called content calendaring, where you can plan out the stuff that you're going to post. And a lot of times if you're going to be teaching what it is that you're learning, you already have your curriculum. So you can kind of plan it out that way as well.
So you mentioned, to build on to that question, blowing up, right? Going viral. Is that important? Is it important to have a large following, or is it more important to just have content so when that one person looks at you, there's something there for them to see?
I believe that true influence is impact. And I believe that vanity numbers don't mean much. I truly believe that if you have 5 million followers and only 5 people will buy from you, that's not influence. But if you have 100 followers and 100 people will buy for you and believe in you and look for you, that's influence. I know there's certain things that I've even heard Brandy post that, maybe this one is just for a select 10 people, but those people every day ask for it and every day look for it and they appreciate it. And so no matter how big or how small you ever grow, the little numbers matter because you're still creating that influence. So yeah, going viral is great because it looks fantastic. But if half of your followers don't buy from you or don't care or don't look, then it really means nothing.
So maybe that helps answer your question, is that it's not really a waste of time because you can't determine that. It's who's viewing your content that determines whether it's a waste of time or not. And you're going to get something out of it because they're getting something out of it, and it will come back.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, and a prime example of this is, so I graduated June, and I was creating content videos, like tutorials of, hey, this is React Native, or this is React, or all sorts of dev stuff. Nobody was watching it. Like, nobody still watches my videos. I still create them. But somebody at Microsoft watched my videos because I literally went on his Twitter. That same example is something that I've done. I liked and commented one time. It drove him back to my profile. That drove him to my YouTube channel where he saw my tutorials, where I had, 100 views maybe. But it was from those tutorials that led to a job interview. So it doesn't really matter if thousands of people are watching him, just like Josh said. If that one person is watching him, that's what matters.
Awesome. Thanks for the question. Do we have other questions out here? We got a couple.
We have a few questions online as well.
Okay, we'll take one of the online questions while he's getting set up.
I have a question from Justin, who is in our music production program. He is actually a composer, and he would like to showcase some of his material on Instagram. What do you guys suggest would be the best way for him to do that?
A composer showing content on Instagram. I'm sorry, what was his name again?
Justin.
Justin. So I would recommend to Justin to not focus so much on his actual product, but his journey. Showcase what you do every day to create this music. Show the behind the scenes. When you have a new song or a clip you want people to listen to, you can lead them in that direction. But if you're always just leading to a product or a service or a music clip, you're not really giving anything back. But if you do showcase your journey, other people who want to do what you're doing can actually try to emulate you. They can say, oh, this is what works. This is his formula for success. And it's not always success, okay? There is a lot behind the scenes that's not fun or things go wrong. And showcasing all of that makes you even more human. And being human is what people connect to. So I would just show the process, and then try to find your community of other people doing the same thing for the support.
Awesome.
All right. See how you talked about finding like followers is actually going to buy your merchandise and stuff. What do you think the best practice is to actually get people to engage with your stuff, like to engage, like to buy you stuff, people that are actually gonna click on your links. Like, what do you have to do? You think, like, what do you think you have to do to make it work? Like me, I'm a YouTuber, and like I don't.
Nice.
So the best thing is engaging with other people. You have to give to get. And so you going out and reaching out to different people, like engaging with their content, liking, commenting, sharing even, it's going to draw them back to your profile and to your videos. That's the easiest and most simple way.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. All right. Thank you.
For YouTube specifically, and like Twitch streaming and those kinds of things, I know that I've talked with a lot of people in the industry as well. If you can get somebody like Ninja to say your tag, you're gonna just infinitely increase your user base, like instantly, just like that. And again, it's just, I think that goes back into, it's not the number of people, it's having that right one person come back to you and say something. So make sure that you're giving back, I think, is the theme here that you guys are pushing. I think that's really
Yeah, and
solid.
you kind of touched on another point, collaborations. Reaching out to different YouTubers, different influencers, or even if they're not influencers, maybe they only have 100 subscribers, but you reach out and do a collab with them, because then those 100 are going to see you and be drawn back to your profile.
Absolutely. And it's important to know, too, that sometimes the people who have smaller followings are more in touch with their followings. You don't always need to chase the person that has 10 million views or 500,000 followers. Look for the people that really align with what you're doing and would make sense for you to collaborate with. And even if their audience is small, like Brandy said, it's still 100 more people.
Cool, great question. We have one over here.
Hi, my name is Akira Cohen. I'm a film student. My question is, because I talk to a lot of students, they say it's good to do hashtags under like social media. Is that really good to do that?
Yeah, I mean, hashtags are how you get SMO, right? Social media optimization. So tagging certain things, if done correctly with a different method, if you guys are curious about hashtag methods, we actually do have courses on this that go into it in fuller detail. But if you do it correctly, it does help new people find you. My only advice is to never rely on hashtags alone. Focus less on the hashtags and more on the content and the quality of the content.
That's interesting. That parallels kind of web optimization too. It used to be like a whole strategy about like, oh, we're going to put these specific tags in this page. And now it's just like, have good stuff.
Yeah.
Google will find it.
Yeah.
Like
And that's exactly it. And as each place becomes more oversaturated, you're dealing with a lot more people and a lot more users who are tagging all the same things that you're tagging. So yes, tags are great. They help people find you, but content is still king or queen.
Questions from online?
Yes, actually, I have a few different students asking the same question. They currently use an alias as their brand, or they just don't want to use their actual name, which I totally understand. What their question is, how can they be more professional and reach the correct people that they need to reach without actually using their real name?
Well, I mean, my name is kind of my real name, but not my real name. So just really keep it professional. If you're trying to connect with people, whether that's trying to get a job or to showcase your content, make sure everything is your alias and that's consistent, like Dania touched on earlier. But also, like, I interact with a lot of accounts that it's not their real name, but I know who they are because of like the behind the scenes type stuff that they do. So whether that's, Instagram stories or Snapchat, I actually see them and I see who they are. You can also do certain things on Twitter to also make that possible. But one of the best things about social, even if you are using an alias, is to actually kind of show who you are so people can see themselves in you, even potential employers or clients.
Yeah, I don't think using an alias is a bad thing, as it's pretty hard to personal brand yourself using your name if no one knows your name, right? If you're not Kim Kardashian or Jennifer Lopez, no one really knows to search your specific name. So I guess the only advice I have for an alias is making sure it aligns with your industry. You'll see in the tech community, a lot of people have their name followed by codes or
Coding.
programmer or dev, right? So you can use kind of these keywords or whatever keywords might be in your field to attach to an alias to maybe even better find your community, because of course your alias is also a good place for SMO as well. Those are keywords, those are search words. So try to keep that in mind, even if you're adding tech or video, whatever it might be.
How do you think that impacts what you said earlier about culture fit, and a recruiter or a company might look for you and try to see if you're a good culture fit for the company if you're using an alias and maybe not?
I don't really see, for me as a recruiter, I don't think it would affect anything. An alias sometimes will help me understand what community you're in faster. But using your name as well, as long as I can consistently find you on social with all of that, with the same name, then either one I think is fine.
So then I have a follow-up that popped into my head from that.
Sure.
Some people use aliases to try to maybe hide, or they want some kind of privacy that they assume that they'll get from an alias. Do you believe, I have my own opinions, but I'm going to ask, do you believe it is possible to hide online?
Yes and no. I think for some, every brand, every user is different, right? And every audience is different. There are audiences who gravitate to the mystery, and there are audiences who want full transparency. I think the key thing is figuring out who your audience is and what they want from you, and giving your audience what they actually want versus what you want to give them.
That's good. That's a good answer. We have more questions in the audience here. I can ask questions all day long. She has a follow-up here. Get the mic back over there.
Okay, I have another question. So as far as posting on like Instagram or social media, should we post every day, every other?
It's really kind of up to you and what your audience wants. Like Dania said, I think 100 times, consistency is key. People want to see what you're doing, especially people that follow you. They follow you for a reason. It's good to build up that trust with them by posting every single day, but maybe your audience only wants to see posts, 3 times a week. It's kind of, you sort of play around with it to see what works best for you.
Can you scare away an audience by posting too much? Do you get like saturated?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm thinking about my own social presence and that kind of stuff. It's not great. Like with my blog and everything like that, I updated it like 5 years ago or something ridiculous. And I'm not actively looking for a job, obviously. Did you hear that? Full sale. So anyhow, but in the case that I was, like, I guess that's another thing. A lot of these guys are looking for their first jobs. So once they get out there and they have that job, what are your recommendations for kind of maintaining that presence just as a whole, when it's not related specifically to job seeking, but just establishing yourself as an individual and maybe thinking forward to the next steps that you might not even be thinking about right now?
I think it's the most important thing you could do. No matter who you work for or who you align with, feel free. If you really love the company and the vision, there's no reason to hold back on being a part of them and showcasing your events with them. But if you completely lose your personal brand and no longer showcase anything of your own, when you're ready one day to write a book or sell a product or start your own business, you've only been aligned with one organization. But distinguishing your personal brand and working on that specifically will give you options and will give you the opportunity to create other things in the future that people will buy or consume or look to you for because of who you are.
That's really good advice. And it looks like from online.
Yes. I'm going to combine both of these questions so they do go hand in hand. If for someone who's trying to get their content out there, do you suggest more than just one platform? Currently, we have a student only on Facebook, and they would like to know if they need to expand. Also, going off of that, should you sell yourself in your bio, or should you let your content speak for itself?
I definitely think you should be on a couple different platforms. I think you want to make content specific for each platform that you're on. So say you write a blog post, you can post an image and a snippet with that on Facebook, but on Twitter, you can maybe quote it or write like a tip and trick from it. Instagram, you can post a photo, all linking back to the same blog post or video or the content that you have. I'll let Dania talk about the bio.
Yeah, I think content speaking for itself is a great thing. But the very first thing I see when I go to your Twitter handle or your Instagram handle or your Facebook page or your LinkedIn, when I see your summary, I want to quickly and immediately assess as a user who you are and what you can do for me. Why should I follow you? How can you help me? And if I don't know that, there's even less of a chance for me to begin scrolling through your content. If it doesn't make sense to me, I won't even know if there's gold in your content because I don't know who you are. So I do think it's very important to have a defined, clear, and concise bio, as well as really, really good, helpful content.
So to kind of follow up on that touch points, you have Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and you name it for social these days. And there's all the ones that old people like me don't even know about. It's hard to admit that you're old when you're 36, but
it's not old.
So there are people in this room that would differ. That's the worst, by the way, when you're in education, because you guys always stay the same age and I get older. So it's just like I'm constantly looking at 18 to 22 year olds. You have all these different social platforms and they each have a different purpose, right? So is there a strategy to kind of targeting a single piece of content, whether it be a blog or vlog or a shared article or something like that, but tailoring it to fit that specific platform? Is that like a strategy that should be done, or you just kind of blanket post the same thing everywhere?
No blanket posting.
No.
Don't do it.
Yeah, you want to make the content specific for the platform. So if you are
Yeah.
doing long form video or tutorials, it's great to obviously use YouTube. But if you were kind of doing like behind the scenes of your day as a developer or day as videographer, you could showcase that on Snapchat, Instagram stories, or even on your actual Instagram page itself. And you can take, pieces of that long form video and break it up into digestible chunks onto the other platforms that make sense for those platforms.
The way I like to think about it is that if you blanket post the same thing on every platform, there are different people who like different platforms more than others, right? You're not going to find ever the same audience on Pinterest that you would find on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter in terms of what they use most actively. There's usually one or two that we like to choose. And if you blanket post, I like to think of it as you're making other people feel left out to the party. Right? Like, this wasn't for me. They're kind of just resharing what they would put on Instagram. So it's not for me. I'm not there. I'm not at that party. And you don't want anyone to feel left out. So like Brandy said, making sure that each post fits its specific platform is the best way to go.
Awesome. How are we doing on questions? We got one in the back over here.
Hi, I'm Jessica. Actually, my question is about keeping it professional throughout the social medias. I have this friend called Tuan, and that was the first time I experienced seeing somebody cleaning up his Facebook to look professional. And I was wondering how far you have to go to actually clean up your Facebook, because I remember he changed his albums, he deleted everything. He used to be a street dancer, so he had a bunch of pictures of him shirtless dancing with more people. So I was wondering, that's his hobby. That's what he used to do every time. So I don't know, how far do you have to go? What can you share? What can you not share? Should you disable you can disable if people can tag you or not on pictures and stuff.
I do. I personally do that, just so I have control of what's on my Facebook, if we're talking Facebook specific. I guess it really just depends on what you're going after. If he's not going into maybe dancing or theater or some sort of entertainment, then maybe those photos aren't appropriate. But maybe for somebody that is going into entertainment, those photos would be perfectly fine. So it kind of depends on the industry that you're trying to get into, on the level of professionalism that there is.
Yeah, and I do think it's okay to show your hobbies and your interests, right? Because like we said earlier, skill set is just not enough. You might have all of the hard skills, but if you don't have any of the soft skills, or you don't align, or you don't seem like a cultural fit for that organization, that's when the problem comes in. But maybe people just didn't even know. So you can give them an opportunity as long as it is professional. It sounds to me like he just didn't feel like that aligned with his new vision. But if for some reason it did and it's still appropriate, it's absolutely a hobby and something that he loves doing. And I'll tell you, 9 times out of 10, we would hire the employee that had external interests and was a community member doing other things as well, rather than just the rote job every single day.
So I would be remiss not to mention this, given that it's late October going into November. Social media and politics. Right, we have this awesome, by definition, terrifying kind of thing that exists right now. If you're somebody that's kind of really involved and you have a specific stance, what are your recommendations on that? Like, should people pay attention to that? You know, you have a lot of young people and they're doing the get out the vote things. You have the kind of seasoned people that are very politically inclined. Do you avoid posting all that kind of stuff? What if you lean one way or the other and then you get employed by a company that leans the other way and then you're just constantly not happy? Is that part of the culture? Should you factor that in?
I believe we're all entitled to our opinions and what makes us us. For me personally, I have no qualms with sharing my beliefs when I feel we need to awaken or to influence, because to me that's part of my job as an influencer. If I have something to say or that I can contribute to what I truly believe in, and so I will attract, followers who might align with me, but you can also, say it in politically correct ways that are open to opinion. You can say it in ways where maybe you're not offending anyone else, but you can still state your opinion. So there's obviously a very fine line there. And sometimes it's better to not touch it at all, right? But I do believe that we're allowed to speak, and I do believe we're allowed to be heard while being mindful of other people's feelings. And if it's a company or organization that doesn't let you have your beliefs or your opinions, you probably don't want to work for them anyway.
Good advice. Cool. All right, how are we doing? We're looking pretty good. All right, with that said, I would like to thank you. Are we good online? I just want to make sure that I'm not leaving anybody out. We're good. Okay, so with that said, I would like to thank you both for your time. Can we give them one more round of applause?
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for joining us as well, and your excellent questions. So just to recap, this will be available online through Full Sail on Air. So make sure you check us out there. Thanks for coming, and we will see you next time. All right.
Thank you so much.